Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2017, and I'm in week 24 of competition. And this is wrapping up season number 8. It's pretty late in the season. Big development. So at the end of last episode, we lost to Seattle U, and I was talking about how that was the most important stretch of the season. We had a 4-game stretch, 3 road games, and Seattle U, who I was 0-5 against all time, now 0-6, said depending on how we do in that season could make or break our year, and I went 1-3 in those 4 games. So while I might be 18-5 overall for the season, that important stretch really hurt. 1-3 in that stretch. 8-4 in the conference, 4 games left to play, and they are not going to be easy ones. I've got Northern Arizona, they're a 500 team, but they're 7-5 in conference on the road. Emmitsburg, they're tied with us atop the league at home, but they're 8-4 in conference. And then Brooklyn Heights on the road. They might be 8-15, but they're 6-6 in conference. And then North Baltimore, who we beat in a tight match on the road earlier in the season. They're 14-9. They're 7-5 in conference, but we're at home. So 4 winnable, but 4 tough winnable games. Could we win all 4? Yes. Will we win all 4? Yeah, I don't know about that. It could be as bad as 2-2. There's a good chance it will be 3-1 in those 4 games. I think that would be the most likely outcome at this point. But let's take a quick look at the standings before we start getting through those games. There we are, Emmitsburg and Poughkeepsie. We are all 8-4. And there are 3 teams right behind us at 7-5. And look at that, 6-6. The conference is really tight this year. With just a couple of losses, we could still slip outside of the playoffs altogether. Wow. Just gotta say, wow. Also, we had the unfortunate, we lost one of our recruits due to his not being qualified for the school. And I have a scholarship offer out to Erskine, but he has not responded yet. And real quick look on Erskine. He wasn't the top recruit. In fact, he was outside of the top 1,000. But looking at the attributes, he seemed to be the best player, at least at this point. Does that mean he'll be the best down the road? I don't know. But he offered enough. We are second on his list right now. All right, now I'm not going to watch any of these 4 games to wrap up the season. We're going to go ahead and sim through each of those because I'd like to get to the conference tournament and hopefully some sort of tournament after that. We have 18 wins right now, so we should be qualifying for at least one of the tournaments, but we'll see how we do in the coming games to see what postseason tournament we might end up with. But first up here, we got a few days until that game at Northern Arizona. That'll be first up. We are still inside the top 100 when it comes to RPI ranking.
You have new mail.
That was the end of that week. I did have another injured player, actually, and I think that's why I was at the end of that week on recruiting. But here's those multiple games coming up. Semifinalists, Claxton still on top out of University of Wisconsin. But I think it was my walk-on freshman who took that light injury that stopped my simulation last week. All right, here we go. Now we've got Northern Arizona. Today is the day of that game. It's a road game. We definitely need a win here. And we get it. 9-4 in conference. Emmitsburg, who was on top of the league with us going into the week. We were both 8-4 at the time. Another big game here, even though they are only 13-11, and we're at home. You'd pick us to be favorites, but they are having a pretty good season so far in the conference. Can we get that 20th win on the year? No, we do not. We lose the game. Emmitsburg pulls off the upset. That is our second home loss of the year. Next up is Brooklyn Heights. Well, they are only 8-17. And you got to favor us in that game. It is a road game, and I've not been playing terribly well here lately. So we are very much showing that we are human this season. And beatable at times. Okay, how did that affect the standings? We have slipped to third place in the conference with just 2 games left to play. Emmitsburg, great win for their program. They're just 14-11. Really? They were 4-7 in their non-conference games. Their RPI is 141st. I still have the highest RPI in the conference, just above Poughkeepsie, which I don't think I played them. Did I? Did I have a game against Poughkeepsie? Yes. I beat them by 12 at home. Alright, well, here we go. 2 games left. Really, these are must-wins, especially for our placement in the tournament and our chance to win the regular season title. But champion does go to whoever wins the conference tournament. There's our 20th win of the year. 10-5 in conference now. Next up is North Baltimore, who we beat earlier. We were up big on them late in the game, but they went on a huge run at the end of that game when we were on the road at North Baltimore early in the conference schedule. And we do get the win. So 21-6 for our final record. For the regular season, 11-5 in the conference this year. Will that be enough? Will either of those 2 teams slip up? Will we be on top of the regular season standings? Or will we remain third? Or somewhere in between? Emmitsburg hangs on, so they're going to be the number 1 seed going into the tournament. We move up to number 2. Poughkeepsie did lose one of those games. But with a 21-6 record, we are by far the best record overall on the year from the conference. 13-2 at home, 8-4 on the road, and we are 60th in RPI. Still no word from Erskine, but we have moved up to number 1 on his list now with that scholarship offer in tow. Johnson did qualify, sadly, for Stanford, so we weren't able to steal him away with his 33rd overall ranking. That would have been phenomenal. Could we have gotten him, but it's always next year. Ganius is back up to a B. That passing didn't go back up. But not as good of recruits this year, really. The ranking-wise, they're still as good as ever. I mean, the top 320, 274. I've been getting recruits around that level the last few years with multiple Bs, but only the 1 this year. So Erskine, despite his ranking, pretty decent attributes, though he is seen as a C overall. All right, now back to the season. And we'll see. We should be getting to our postseason conference tournament here in a little bit. Looks like it'll be this next week on the schedule, even though we are about to head into March. There we go. First round of the Conference S tournament. We've got a bye, of course.
You have new mail.
And there you go. We're going to get Mississippi Valley State. They are 14-14 on the year. And let's see, 7-9 in the conference. Again, look how balanced this is. I mean, Idaho State was the bottom at 5-11. Tight league this year. I've never seen one this close. All right, I'm going to assume that we can pull this game off, so I'm not going to watch this one. Let's see if the team is strong enough now to stay alive. And yes, we do. 22nd win on the year. And here you go. Tough matchup. Poughkeepsie. We did beat them earlier in the year, but they are 17-11. And they were level with us as we get into the semifinals. Emmitsburg also hung on. So as well as Northern Kentucky. So the top 4 teams in the conference are the 4 teams remaining. And we'll go ahead and watch this game and see how we do. 2 wins to have an NCAA tournament bid and our 3rd conference title. But we've got to get through this game first. We've got to get through Poughkeepsie. And here we go. As always, I'll go with speed 10. Might slow it down late in the game, especially if it's tight. The game is tight early on. For the first 4 minutes, it's just a 1-point game. And we went scoreless there for a few minutes, but we were able to get things going. And there's our first lead since early on. And we're actually on a bit of a run here as it's now 22-15, but they start closing the gap right back down. Let's look at some early stats. We are definitely edging them out on rebounds, better than 2-1. Turnovers are level. We are shooting much better from the field than they are. Just 2 of 6 beyond the arc. But we are out to a 10-point lead here approaching halftime. And they go on a little bit of a run there. But we stretch it back out to a 9-point halftime lead. And come out shooting well in the second half. Hazleton's got 12 points so far. Williams just 8 points at this point in the game. But there he goes with a 3, putting him at 11. And we've got a nice comfortable lead at this point. Looks like we will be heading on our way to the final, barring any craziness in the final 8 minutes of this one. But it's only an 11-point lead, so certainly no guarantees. We use one timeout here, there we go, to talk about it. Make sure we maintain this lead, and we come out well from that 30-second timeout. Go on, oh gosh, what, 10, 12, 14-point run that we carry right to the end of the game. They only got 2 more scores the whole rest of the game after I used that timeout. Final score, 86-63, 14 for Williams, 6 of 14 shooting, 13 rebounds for Ray Price. Great job from him. Almost got the double-double. We ended up shooting 50% from the field and 45-25 on the rebounding edge. And a lot of that, Ray Price. Great job there.
You have new mail.
Ooh, and Northern Kentucky got the upset, so we do not have to play at Emmitsburg once again. We are considered at Northern Kentucky on this game, though. have new mail. What's the new mail? Oh, that's the scouting report. That makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and play through this one as well. We're getting to see lots of Sims and having an extra episode for this season. And we've definitely got an edge in record. And Northern Kentucky was 4th in the conference, as I was 2nd. Here we go with a 3rd league title on the line. Let's get the game underway. We get out to the quick start with 3 right away, and we're up 6-1 just a couple minutes into the game. 11-4. So we get the quick start on the game 6 minutes in. And let's start looking at the first stats as they emerge. We're about even on rebounds. We're not even shooting that well. And they're shooting better than we are, but we're getting a lot more shot attempts than they at this point. We are definitely forcing some turnovers, and we're shooting well beyond the arc. 24-17 at this point, approaching halftime, and we're starting to stretch a little bit of a lead as we got up plus 12 now. And quick look at the guys. Things are pretty balanced at this point. No one player seems to be emerging. Zimmerman's doing pretty well off the bench with 6 points. There we go. Halftime with a 4-point lead, 34-30. All right. It's conference championship. We're going to slow things down just a little bit. Speed 9. We've got a 7-point lead here now, 9-point lead. So it's 44-35 at this point with 14 minutes to play. Chad Williams seems to be leading the way, as is par for the course throughout this season. He's got 10 points. Just 3 of 8 shooting, though, so he hasn't put up a whole lot of shot attempts. We are spreading the ball around really well. Lots of assists for individual players, but Neely himself only has 2 at this point. Daniel Earl has 3 fouls, so he's in a bit of foul trouble, but we just stretched the lead a lot in the last few minutes. It's 50-37. We are now up 30-22 on rebounds. They've caught up to us on turnovers, though, and we're still just shooting just 45% from the field, but the defensive pressure really good, as Northern Kentucky's only shooting 31% from the field, and we're up 54-37. Let's go ahead and speed it up. It looks like we are on our way to the title. If they start to close that gap, which they are on a little bit of a run here, let me go ahead and use that timeout, slow things down as they get back within 10, make sure that that run doesn't continue. And it does a bit. They have gotten within 10 points now. Daniel Earl has 12 points now, 5 of 8 shooting. 61-53 inside the final 5 minutes. They are certainly trying to make a game out of it here. I'll go ahead and use another timeout. 3.5 minutes to play. I've got 1 30-second timeout remaining. And it's just a 5-point game, so I'll slow down a little bit more here. 63-57. I was Neely making 1 of 2 from the line on the free throws. Wayne Harris gets layup here. Inside 2 minutes now. 4-point game. So despite our control out here in many ways, they've caught up. They're only 3 rebounds down on us. Minute 45 here. Charles George just turned the ball over, and Neely commits the foul to close the score down to 2 points with 1:20 to play. Price slams it home, though, to stretch the lead back to 4. They miss the 3. Neely grabs the rebound. They commit the quick foul, and that puts Hazelton on the line. He sinks both free throws inside the final minute. Clutch from him. Northern Kentucky uses their timeout. They miss their 3. We grab the rebound. They commit the foul, and Hazelton grabs 2 more. That stretches the lead out. That might be enough. So Hazelton clutch here in the final minute with 4 points from the line. Neely commits the timeout with about 14 seconds left. And they miss the 1-and-1, miss the 3. We get the rebound, and Neely sinks the three in the final second to stretch the lead even further, and we are conference champions, 72-61 final score, and that's back-to-back years as conference champion, and my third in 8 seasons. They made it tight down the stretch, but we pulled it out in the final minute. Clutch plays from our star player, Teddy Hazelton, making all of his free throws under pressure right there at the end of the game. All right, let's finish out the week so we can get the Selection Sunday. We are going to be heading to the NCAA tournament with that conference championship, and it'll be interesting to see where we're at. We're 24-6 at this point. This is the best record that I've had heading into the tournament. The highest seed I've had in 2 previous tournament appearances was 15th. Will it get a little bit higher? Well, we'll find out soon. My RPI is 53rd, so I definitely belong in that top 64, or what is it, 68 teams. It looks like there's still some other games to go here.
You have new mail.
There we go. Now we're on to selection show. Players declaring for the draft. Nobody has declared. The finalists, still Claxton from Wisconsin on top, though below him things have shifted around a bit. And it's time for the selection show. Let's go ahead and watch.
You have new mail.
All right, so this is the NCAA Division I men's tournament. And there we go. Is that Notre Dame? I believe that is. But why would they be a 1 seed at 19-13? So that's not Notre Dame. These are the play-in games. Oh, yeah, okay, these are the play-in games. That's the 12 seeds. Okay, so we made it into the first round. We are beyond the play-in games, at least. And we're now into the Buffalo region. Syracuse with a 1 seed. Got Maryland in the 2 seed. And USC is the 3 seed. There's Western Kentucky, who we played earlier. They finished 18-10 and have a 14 seed. Alabama is the 4 seed. Texas. Winston-Salem and Clemson, the 8 and 9 seed there. Minneapolis region. So we did not make that region into Minneapolis. This could be us. I mean, you never know where we're going to be. Wisconsin, the 1 seed over here. And UConn is the 2 seed. And there we are. We have a 14 seed, and it's Florida. So, I actually played Florida when they were, what was it, the 1 seed? A few years back. So when I was that was after the play-in game, I believe. So they are 20-9. So actually I have a better record than them at 24-6. But of course I'm coming from a low conference, low prestige. But there you go. I have inched my way up. The first time I had a play-in game as a 16 seed play-in game. The next tournament appearance, I made it in as a 15 seed, and here in my third appearance, I will be a 14 seed. And we're just going to skip right on towards the end. So I want to get to it. I'm excited to see where we're at. I believe Louisville was one of the other 1 seeds, but I was going through pretty quickly there. So after the end of the season itself, as we head into the NCAA tournament, Chad Williams finished with 16.3 points per game. Neely did crack 5 assists per game. Charles George still our leading rebounder. Daniel Earl emerged as our leading steals guy at 1.2, but lots of guys on the team with high steals. Final standings here, we are 3rd in the nation on assists at 18.6, 10th in scoring in the nation, and we protected the ball really well. Or should that be here? Actually, here's where we protected the ball. So we were 7th. We only gave up 4.7 steals per game, which is good for 2nd in the nation. So we did not turn the ball over much at all. Overall, though, outside of the top 100, so we did get blocked a bit. But forcing turnovers, 6th in the nation at 11.8. So my playing style, trying to force a lot of turnovers, definitely helped in creating a lot of extra chance points, and that's one of the reasons why we were 10th in the nation in scoring. All right, so we are on to the NCAAs. No games today. And we are at the Minneapolis region, I believe. Yeah, there we go. A couple days till our first game. And we have... There we go. Florida and Olympic Decathlon rings. The winner of our game will play the winner of Jacksonville State and Boston State. Now, 14 seeds do not beat 3 seeds very often, but my team, for the very first time in the tournament, I think has a small chance of getting outside of the first round. I'm definitely in better shape than I've been at any point entering the tournament in terms of quality of my team and having enough guys around who actually could get the job done. All right, with those play-in games done, Easton got through. It's still only March 15th. I'm going to be up on the 16th. Lawrenceville got through over here to face Wisconsin. All right, we are definitely going to watch this game. No doubt about it. There's Emmetsburg and Northern Kentucky, and they're actually playing each other in the CIT tournament. So interesting that ended up happening, that they ended up with that matchup. I still have not picked up that 4th recruit. That worries me a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he will sign with us. We are number 1 on his list now. So he's probably just waiting for deadline day. All right, so we got Florida playing the Gators. And we'll go through the first half quickly. But if this game is close, we'll definitely slow it down. I'm off to an excellent start, 7-6 with the lead through the first almost 4 minutes. So we at least had a lead for a little while. And we're staying close here. We're only down 4 as we approach the halfway mark of the first half. We are getting down just a little bit there. I'm more likely to use timeouts here earlier in this game to keep it close. And this would be a good time as we are down 8, down 10 now. There we go. Use my first timeout, see if we can't get a little run going. They are starting to stretch the lead here towards halftime. Their quality is starting to show. We enter half down 12. We come out shooting in the second half, but yeah, they're slowly stretching the lead. It's like the momentum isn't there. I'm hanging with them, but just slowly but surely they kind of just keep stretching that lead a little bit at a time. We are back within 10 at least with 12 minutes to play. But they quickly come right back out, stretch that lead once again. I'm going to use my last timeout, see if we can't get some sort of run going here with 8 to play. 6 to play. Yeah, not going to happen. Okay. Yeah, there's no point even slowing that down. So we are down big late on, but we hung with them for a while. Let's take a look at some of the players. Chad Williams getting the job done. 25 points, 9 of 14 shooting. Zimmerman just came in. He's got 5 points, 4 assists. Neely's not having a good day. He's 0 of 4 shooting. Ray Price and Charles George both adding 6. They're not grabbing very many rebounds. That's one area where we're definitely getting beat. 16, 25 on the boards. Turnovers are about level. I'm shooting 50% from the field. They're shooting 65% from the field. So there's the problem right there. Offensively, I'm doing the job, but defensively, Florida is just way too good for us. They're 8 of 14 beyond the arc. And that does it. We lose 89-72. We get knocked out in the first round. All 3 appearances, we haven't been able to get past the first round, though we did have that one win in the play-in game when we were the 16th seed. And that's what led to that matchup with Florida after. So it looks like they are ranked 13th in the country. So very much in a game where we are overmatched. But we played well. We didn't get beat too bad, I guess. It was pretty inevitable. There was a very, very slight chance that we were going to do anything in that game. So that's going to do it for our season. We finished 24-7. We make it to the first round of the NCAA tournament and get a league championship, my 3rd conference championship, and that also made our 3rd NCAA tournament appearance with that championship. And we've had 1 appearance in each of the other tournaments. Not bad for 8 seasons. Team Prestige was up to 11 this year. We actually have a star from that we started with a Prestige of 1. So it's climbing. SAT is still a 960. Conference Prestige is climbing as we move our way up. We will be moving up out of S for next year, so we're going to be moving up to Conference R next. The academics are still strong. The facilities were a D. I've got them up to a C-. I've got to keep pushing the board to improve that, but I also need to increase our budget. With that, we also bring the school's all-time record to an even 500 at 211 and 211. There was some leftover record from the team that I edited, which I couldn't even tell you who that was at this point. But we still have a budget of just $129,000, which when I started, I think it was $120,000. I've gotten that increased once, and I've gotten the facilities improved once. That's through 8 seasons. Alrighty, so that's going to wrap up my season, but let's see who wins that tournament, see if I get that 4th player recruited, and then we'll be heading into the off-season. Let's make sure I'm still number 1 on his list, and that's Erskine, and yes, so I'm pretty sure he will sign, but let's go ahead and finish our simulation here. We still have quite a ways to go as it's still first round, so I will be simming the week. We'll try to quickly get things down to Final 4. Looks like Syracuse. There we go. We just wrapped up second round games. Villanova beat Western Kentucky. Maryland. So we got Maryland and Villanova. We got Syracuse at Southern Houston. Here we have Auburn and Akron, and then UConn and Boston. So Wisconsin went down to Auburn in the second round. Okay, here in Austin, they haven't played those games yet. That'll be the Sunday matchups. So Anaheim, probably the same thing. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and do another week here real quick. And that'll get us down to the first Final Four appearances will emerge. All right, so we got Syracuse and Maryland into the Final Four. Or Elite Eight, I guess. Wait, where are we at on that? Yeah, that was Sweet 16, so that was Elite Eight. And Syracuse won the matchup over Maryland to head to the Final Four. In Minneapolis, Connecticut overcame Auburn. And here, yeah, we're still at the Elite Eight. One more day to get those Final Four matchups. So South Bend, as in Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech are going to duke it out for a Final Four spot. And the other Elite Eight matchup is Louisville and Kansas. Heading back to Minneapolis for a moment where I was playing, Florida was knocked off by Boston State. So they didn't even get past one more game after defeating us. And then Boston State was the one who was defeated by UConn, and UConn beat Auburn to go on. So that's kind of the tree there. Let's go ahead and sim one more day and see what happens with the Final Four matchups here. Close game, 83-81. Notre Dame over Georgia Tech. And here, another really tight game. Kansas beating Louisville by 1. And I saw Kansas was pretty high in the rankings, weren't they? No, 22-12 on the season, all the way down to 15th for them. And that was the number 1 seed, the overall number 1 Louisville, who was 34-3. So our Final Four is now set. We got Syracuse, number 2 in the country, going in. UConn, number 6. Notre Dame, number 4 in the country. Last number 1 seed gets all the way through to the Final Four. And Kansas, all the way from the 15th ranked team, and a 3 seed. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. Sorry. All right, we're going to sim right on through, and we'll see what happens with this. See if I can't click back over to finals. Looks like Syracuse beat UConn, and Kansas beat Notre Dame. So here we go. Championship game is going to be between Syracuse and Kansas.
You have new mail.
And there it is. Your NCAA 2025 champion is Kansas. So all the way from 15th ranked going into the tournament in the country, a 3 seed, Kansas wins the NCAA title. Okay, and let's take a look at the awards for the year. I'm just about out of time for this episode, but we'll get at least through these awards as we head into the postseason. The Norton Award Player of the Year did go to that kid from Wisconsin. He's only a sophomore, but I would imagine he's probably going into the NBA after that. Kid from Louisville, freshman. Senior from Kansas, power forward, got the player of the tournament for the NCAA. And freshman of the year was that same kid out of Louisville, which makes perfect sense. Defensive player of the year, Devin Jones out of Oklahoma, junior. Coach of the year, Louisville's coach, at 34-3 on the season. And here's the first team All-Americans: Claxton, Montague from Syracuse, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and a player out of Indiana. All right, now here's what really matters. Conference S. Player of the year, Eddie Serpent from Northern Arizona, sophomore. Wow, 21.1 points per game. Freshman of the year, Teddy Hazelton. He was just a redshirt freshman this year. 14.2 points per game, 2.4 assists, 5.1 rebounds, 1 steal a game. Freshman of the year. Good job to him. Defensive player of the year goes to Martin Green of Seattle U. Coach of the year. Hey, I got it. I think that's actually only the second time I've won Coach of the Year in 9 years. So 24-7 record this year. And here's the first team All-Conference. Chad Williams makes it to first team All-Conference. He had a great year. And second team All-Conference, Teddy Hazelton. And no surprise there. So I got 2 teams into the All-Conference team. Williams and Hazelton. First and then second team for Hazelton. Well, that's it for the awards. And that'll push us into the postseason. We'll take a quick look at who the outgoing seniors are and what that will cause for some sort of shakeup for next year. As well, we'll try to see if I land that recruit or not. Season review. Another banner to hang for us. Win conference tournament, I succeeded on that one, and win 15-plus games, I succeeded. So both my goals for the year were achieved. That should, hopefully, go a ways to maybe getting some improved facilities or a better budget. I don't know which one I want to push for just yet. I need both. Definitely need both. Though I think I'm okay on the budget for this year. So I might push for the facilities this time. Okay, I'm not looking for another job, so I'm going to skip the job hiring.
You have new mail.
And there you go. Daryl Erskine did sign. So we did grab Daryl Erskine. His rank wasn't great, but his attributes were a lot better than the other guys who were actually higher ranked than him. So my final recruiting mixed bag this year. Tahid Erskine, not very high in rank, but I got 2 pretty solid players in Ganius and Gerard Ash. And the final thing we're going to take a look at as I go to wrap up this episode. Let's see who is on their way out. Preston Favors on his way out. He was only getting about 4 minutes a game, so that's not going to hurt. Reginald Neely was the starting point guard this season with that nice, solid 4.0 average. So good job there for him. And Zimmerman, I had him work on his GPA, and he certainly improved that, so he got better grades after a few weeks with a tutor. But Neely, great job. No, not great job. Just he did a decent job this year. He did okay as point guard. So I'm going to expect Zimmerman to be stepping up next year, taking over as the starter. But we'll see how Maxie Davis is after redshirting this year, as he could surprise. Chad Williams is a senior. I didn't know that. So I am going to be losing Chad Williams. So that will be a big one to replace. Emerson Fisher is a senior, but he was just a walk-on. And Charles George also outgoing as a senior this year. So Earl should be able to step in as a pretty strong replacement on that one. But Kerry Williams, is he going to be... So I could see a definite drop-off next year as I'm losing 3 starters and 4 players overall. So I'm going to have 4, yet again, outgoing players for the 3rd season in a row. And what am I looking at for juniors? See, I don't even have any juniors at all. So I might want to only fill 3 of these vacancies going into next season and then save one of those scholarships so I at least can go after 1 player that next year and not have 0 vacancies to fill. Spread it out a little bit. I'll think about that. But that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.